to call the legislative meeting to order. We will begin with a pledge of allegiance led by Dr. Whiting, along with the statement of acknowledgement in honor of indigenous and diverse communities.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And now the reading of the Statement of Acknowledgement and Honor of Indigenous and Diverse Communities. We begin this meeting with acknowledgement of and honor for the many legacies that have impacted our community, particularly those buried over time. Acknowledging truth is critical to building mutual respect and connection across all barriers of heritage and difference. Cheltenham Township stands within the Lenape-Hokinek, the ancestral homeland of the Lenni Lenape civilization. Their people were, and still are, caretakers of this land and its rivers, and their legacy continues. We pay respect to their elders, past and present. Our community owes its existence and vitality to generations from around the world who contributed their hopes, dreams, and energy to making the history that led to this moment. Some were brought here against their will. Some were drawn to leave their distant homes in hope of a better life, and some have lived on this land for more generations than can be counted. Please take a moment to consider the many legacies of violence, displacement, migration, and settlement that bring us together. As a school district committed to fostering intellectual curiosity and discourse in service of social justice, join us in uncovering such truths.
Thank you, Dr. Whiting. Ms. Harding will provide the roll call.
Thank you. Ms. Blitzstein,
Ms. Blitzstein is excused from tonight's meeting.
Mr. Burdell Williams,
Present.
Mr. Epps,
Present.
Ms. Henry,
Present.
Ms. Lohman,
Present.
Ms. Mulhern,
Present.
Ms. Murphy,
Present.
Mr. Schultz,
Present.
and Dr. Whiting.
Present.
Thank you. That concludes the roll call.
Thank you, Ms. Harding. We will have the public comments on agenda items only. If there's anyone in the audience that would like to comment on anything in the agenda, you can approach the podium, announce your name and where you reside in the district. If anyone, for those that are watching online or streaming, you can email CSD board meetings comments@cheltenham.org. Or if you're on Zoom, you can raise your hand and you will be unmuted. Nobody in there. All right. Next, we will have recognition from Wyncote Elementary highlights by Mr. Jim Taylor, Principal Jim Taylor. Are you going to make us cry again?
I don't know. Well, thank you for rolling out the red carpet, though. Right. That just happened. So, President Henry, members of the Board of School Directors, Dr. Scriven, Ms. Savage, and members of the Cabinet, thank you for your invitation to speak to you tonight about the many ways that Wyncote roars with pride this evening. This is the time of year when presidents, governors, mayors, and elected officials give their annual State of the Union, State of the Commonwealth, State of the City address. These speeches often serve two functions: review the highlights of the past year and places of success, as well as outline a roadmap for the coming year. I hope to do a little of both in the next few minutes. I have to start with a confession that I'm a junkie. I'm a junkie when it comes to watching the news. And when I can catch CNN's Sunday morning news program, State of the Union, I'm always eager to hear how the moderator describes the State of the Union this week. I'm here to let you know that the state of Wyncote is strong. It's full of dedicated professionals, committed parents, and most importantly, curious and eager and enthusiastic learners. Together, we strive to create a culture of hospitality and welcome, always, always grounded in our aspirational value of kindness. So if you're playing Wyncote Bingo at your spot, you can now cover the first space that kindness has been mentioned. While the state of Wyncote is strong, I continue to dream about the future of Wyncote. I recently read a passage about dreams, and the author spent time describing beautiful dreams and urgent dreams. You will see some beautiful dreams further in the slide presentation, but we also have urgent dreams. We dream of conversations that draw us together. I dream of building bridges and tearing down walls. I dream of more laughter and less fear. I dream of deep listening and less excluding. My dreams for Wyncote are a combination of both the urgent and the beautiful. Each member of my staff works tirelessly to foster and nurture dreams for our children. And I want to highlight quickly 2 ways in which our dreams have become reality this year. Since becoming the principal of Wyncote 3 years ago, the state of our win time, our daily intervention period, has been inconsistent at best. Our faculty had a very robust collaborative conversation during a recent PD session in which I shared my concerns based on data and evidence from walkthroughs. So we renormed our collective expectations of win. And I'm delighted to report that 98% of our teachers are now using small, data-driven group instruction as a primary pedagogical strategy. And the last round of teacher walkthroughs was their accountability check. And speaking of data, Wyncote teachers and I am becoming much more confident and conversant in data. This has been a huge cultural and paradigm shift for our staff. Just yesterday, we spent time in each grade level meeting looking at the data we have culled from the January administration of the universal screening of FastBridge. And we looked at every single child in every grade who came up as red or at significant risk in reading and math to ensure that there is a plan in place for each student. If not, we then asked ourselves the questions of what additional diagnostic data we need to help create a plan for these students in the MTSS process. Next up, we'll use the same process to look at our moderate risk students in the same way. So with that as background, Fred Rogers, and now you can cover that box on your Taylor bingo board, wisely reminds us that it's our insides that make us who we are, that allow us to dream and wonder and feel for others. That is what is essential, and that is what makes the biggest difference in our world. In many ways, that simple quote reminds me of the why of my daily work. And in the following video and slide deck, you will see how we dream and wonder at Wyncote while we roar with positive behavior. So if we can go to the next slide. Each morning we start with our Wyncote pledge. And in the next slide, you're going to see a video, and I want to just put out the disclaimer that the student voices, with the volume even turned all the way up to the max, the student voices are very quiet. So I need you to really put your listening ears on, and I will send the link out to Ms. Harding tomorrow that she can send to each of you so that in your spare time you can take another look at the video. Next slide, please. And if you can play that.
I played the Wyncote Award others when I help people get up when they're hurt, and I respect others when people don't have friends, so I help them have friends.
I respect others by I help them if they need help in schoolwork, and I'm very kind to everybody.
At Waco, I own my actions while I'm walking in the hallway, keeping my hands and feet to myself.
I own my actions by when my friends are sad, they tell me what happened and they take their time to tell me what happened. How I stay for years at recess. When people are swinging, I don't go in front of the swings or behind the swings. And when I'm inside the hallways, I at a level 0 and I don't run into hallways.
I act safely by singing my teachers for the first time and walking in the hallway.
I rise to the challenge because I know it's the right thing and my teacher tells me to.
How I can rise to the challenge is by keeping calm, doing my work, not doing whatever I want, and listening to others.
I spread kindness by helping people that need a partner or helping people that are sad and feeling down.
I spread kindness at Winco by helping others when they need it.
So that gives you a little bit of the essence. The young kindergartner on the last slide, on the last clip that talked about spreading kindness. Her older sister, Miss Henry, you'll remember, was here speaking of sparkles and rainbows. That's her younger sister, who is now one of our kindergartners. So the year started off with a bang, welcoming our youngest learners. Next slide. Friendships were renewed. New friendships were created, and the magic started right away. Next slide. And we got right down to the business of learning. And we even had a special visitor. Dr. Scriven stopped in and welcomed our students back. In October, we had our Reading Under the Stars event, which was not under the stars, but in the gym. We had campfires set up. We collaborated with the library. Next slide, please. The library system, who came and did a variety of activities with our readers, all getting us ready for the Wyncote Book Fair. Next slide. As part of the Wyncote Book Fair, we ended that with our annual book character parade, and I bet you'll never guess what this year's theme was for our faculty and staff. It was a smashing success. Next slide, please. More shots from our kindergartners on the left, and those are second and third graders on the right. What's a parade without a band and spectators? We have collaborated for years with the marching band at the high school to come, which adds a festive flair to the event. And we have developed a very lovely relationship with our neighbors who reside at Wyncote House next door, and their memory care unit in particular, who get up a little extra early and sit out on their driveway and give treats to all the students as they come through. It's not all fun and games at Wyncote. I know that's hard to believe. We do some learning as well. The CHS PBL program came and did a lesson with our third graders on biomes, and both of those students are former Wyncote students who are doing the teaching of our young third graders. More slides from the biome project. We had our grand reopening of our sensory hallway. Dr. Scriven was there to cut the ribbon. That was quite a pair of scissors he used that day. And then our students got right to work in the sensory hallway, exploring it. Lauren is there on the right, exploring the swing. We have different gross motor and fine motor skills that help reset children for learning. In November or early December, Our Wingcoat robotics team participated in the first Lego League regional competition. This is the first time our students have participate in this competition. Our young team wowed the judges by their level of teamwork and problem-solving skills, and they won the overall motivation award for the competition. The winter concert, an annual highlight. We were delighted this year to welcome back Mr. Wrights, our music teacher, who is back from his sabbatical. Every child, every day is what we talk about at Wingcoat. And in our winter concert performance, every child was on stage, including our nonverbal students who are part of our artistic support classroom. And I'm not going to cry over that, but if you were there, you would have. It was really remarkable to see them even getting in front of a crowd of people. It was remarkable. We had our PBIS Winter Extravaganza. And what we did right shortly before the winter break was to put out a list of 25 different activities that teachers were willing to host. And students completed a Google survey indicating their first, second, and third choice. We did this because our perception data for the last several years has shown that students have felt that they don't have a voice or choice in what they do at Wingcoat. And so we decided one way to give them voice and choice was to present them with a variety of activities and have them choose what they wanted to do for that afternoon. We had basketball, we had board games, next slide. We had cookie decorating, thanks to ShopRite for donating all the cookies. We had making kindness rocks, next slide please. We had snowflake making, and we had yoga in the lobby. On the right, you will see two students working on making slime. And here again they are. What we did was we did a reverse inclusion model. So often we bring the AS students and our students with learning differences into the general ed classroom. As a team, we decided that that would be way too overwhelming, particularly for our young kindergartners. And so we took a group of 10 students into the AS room with these students who communicated with us through their talking devices and did a reverse inclusion so that those young AS students could also have the experience of celebrating their positive behavior, because without words, they often use their behaviors to communicate with us. So we wanted to honor and celebrate them, and to me, that was one of the great highlights of the day. Next slide, please. And as you know, no presentation is complete in the Cheltenham School District unless there's data involved in it. So I have taken a snapshot of our PBIS data from 23-24 in the green, is represented by the green column, and our 24-25 school data is represented in the blue column. And with the exception of September, which is not surprising that we saw an uptick in referrals as we're all getting used to being back in school, our data is trending in the right direction by a significant margin. One thing we did discuss at our last faculty meeting was looking at the data trend for last year for the spring, and we see an uptick in March and May. And so now we have that data to help us think proactively about what supports we need to put in place now and think about now in order to support our students in the warmer months. A lot of that is playground. So that concludes the slide deck. Thank you. And I want to talk briefly about the artwork in the room. Thank you to Madison Sippa, our amazing art teacher who has worked with all of our students to produce this art. Thank you to our young artists who have risen to the challenge. The artwork you see on display showcases the creativity and growth of students across grade levels and abilities, with themes ranging from seasonal inspiration to cultural celebrations. Highlights include fall-themed projects like 4th grade apple still lifes, 3rd grade chalk pumpkins, and 2nd grade landscape paintings, as well as winter pieces such as 2nd grade winter portraits, 1st grade landscape paintings, and kindergarten collage penguins. The American Indian Heritage Board in the back features culturally inspired works like 1st and 2nd grade spirit owls, 3rd grade weavings, kindergarten dream catchers, and 2nd grade teepees. Additional displays include vibrant 3rd grade cityscape prints, 4th grade sign systems, and playful art supply themed compositions. Together, the exhibit reflects students' artistic exploration, technical skills, and imaginative expression. So thank you again to Madison for hanging the show for us. So to wrap it all up, I want children to dream and wonder and feel for others. I want them to dream both beautiful dreams and urgent dreams. That is the essence of Wyncote. And I thank you as the Board of School Directors for dreaming with us and for helping us create such a strong community. The state of Wyncote is strong, hopeful, and full of promise. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Taylor. Next, we will have our solicitor's report by Mr. Diazio.
Thank you. The board has not met in executive session since the last public board meeting, so there's no Sunshine Act announcement this evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Diazio. Dr. Scriven will provide the superintendent's report.
So, thank you, Madam Chair. As many of you are aware by what's been on our web and other means of social media, this is the month of January, and it's our Board of Directors Appreciation Month. So I want to take a point of privilege and present to our board a resolution which we created as my way as superintendent just to honor you on this day. And it reads as Resolution of Appreciation presented to the school district, Cheltenham School District Board of Directors. Whereas the Cheltenham School District Board of Directors has demonstrated extraordinary leadership and dedication to advancing equity, excellence, and innovation in the district. And whereas the board has provided thoughtful stewardship of the district's resources, supporting initiatives such as the multi-tiered systems of support, or as you just heard from Principal Teller, MTSS, and policies designed to ensure systemic improvements of equitable opportunities for all students. And whereas the board has been instrumental in fostering collaboration across the district's 7 schools, highlighting best practices, and championing the development of complete K-12 curricula, pacing guides, and common assessments aligned with Common Core and Pennsylvania Common Core standards. And whereas the board has continually focused on creating an environment where every student is empowered to thrive, and where the district's mission of belonging, becoming, excelling is brought to life. And whereas the board's efforts have significantly impacted the lives of students, staff, and families, in the Cheltenham community by providing a foundation for sustainable growth, innovation, and success. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Cheltenham School District extends its deepest gratitude to the members of the Board of School Directors for their vision, resolve, and partnership. And be it further resolved that the district acknowledges and celebrates the dedication of tireless efforts of the board, which empower the community to turn challenges into opportunities and aspirations into achievements. Adopted this 14th day of January 2025. So that is my personal resolution to you as a board. Mr. White, if you want to come on in, I'm going to pivot to Mrs. Harding, who really took a labor of love to put this together, just as she kind of gives you the vision and the inspiration behind this.
So, in case you didn't know, it's School Board Director Recognition Month. Yay! So, in the past, we have chosen to honor our board with dinner and flowers, and, you know, it's all great. But, you know, flowers eventually wilt, fade away, and die. So, this year we decided that we would try to come up with something a little more lasting. And we came up with this idea of these sort of thank you jars. And these jars are filled with sentiments from students all over the district. They took the time to voice how they feel about what you do as a board. And so on those days when you wonder why you ever ran for this office, to do this, to volunteer for this thankless job, just pull out a note or two, and you'll see how much the entire district, especially the students that you support, appreciate you. So enjoy.
So thank you, Mrs. Harding. And at this time, we want to go to the second slide in the presentation. Mr. Kaufman and team has put together a video just of appreciation for various members within the administrative team, both here at the admin building in our respective schoolhouses, and then also students throughout the district. So
Happy Board Recognition Month. I wanted to express my personal gratitude for the Cheltenham School District's Board of Directors. It's so important to make sure that we have school directors that understand how important their job is, because they are responsible for the governance of our district. And we're lucky to have a board that is not only compassionate and passionate, but incredibly knowledgeable. I'm grateful every day.
The team from Human Resources would like to thank the board for all of their hard work and dedication, and for all they do to help Human Resources, working on the policy committee, and just the Cheltenham School District in general. We thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your leadership, your vision, and the incredible amount of volunteer time you spend towards Cheltenham and its students. For me personally, your work does not go unnoticed, and I consider this district lucky to have such passionate community members and advocates for public education. Thank you.
On behalf of the Office of Student Services, we just want to thank the board for all of your hard work and your dedication to making our school district a better and brighter place. Thank you.
Thank you for your dedication and leadership, being school board members. We appreciate your support for students, staff, and the community to make Cheltenham School District a great place to work at.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Cheltenham School District Board of Directors. I'd like to take this time to thank you for all the hard work you put into the district, all the hours you sacrifice from your family. it doesn't go unnoticed. Thank you on behalf of the Facilities Department at Cheltenham School District. We appreciate you.
Good afternoon. My name is Anthony Carter. I am the new Assistant Director to Facilities and Maintenance. I'd just like to take this time to thank the board for all the hard work that they do. Thank you.
On behalf of the safety team for Cheltenham School District, we'd like to thank you for volunteering and doing such an excellent job for the school district.
Hello board, Kevin Kaufman, Director of Communications here. Just want to say happy Board Recognition Month. Thank you for all you do and the hard work and great energy.
Hi, I'm Derek Platt, Supervisor of Transportation, and on behalf of the Transportation Department and Philly Trans LLC, I'd like to thank you all for your continued support and hard effort in keeping the school district running.
Hi, I'm Mike Oswald in Purchasing Department. Just wanted to thank the board for all their hard work and effort in making the district great. It's much appreciated. Thank you.
Happy School Board Directors Month. I just want to thank you all for being such a great group to support and for making my job pleasant. Congratulations.
Hi, my name is Melissa Williams in the Department of Special Education, and I want to send a huge thank you out to the Board of Directors for their time, dedication, and all of the energy that they put into the school district and the community. Thank you very much for all your service.
Thank you for your support. We appreciate you.
Hi, this is Jen Mosier. I'm the elementary social worker. Thank you so much to all the members of the school board for all you do for us throughout the year. We really appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, facilities would like to recognize the board for all the hard work and dedication that they put in. Thank you.
Thank you for your service.
Good evening, Board of School Directors. Thank you for your leadership, vision, and for always striving to make our schools a place where students can thrive. Your dedication, thoughtful decision-making, and tireless efforts have a profound impact on our community of learners and educators, and we are truly grateful for all that you do.
Thank you so much for all you do.
Hello to our school district Cheltenham Board of Directors. I'm very grateful to have this opportunity to share my gratitude with you for everything that you do for us. One of the wonderful things that we were able to do before going on winter break was I was able to host about half of the school board who came over, and I know you visited many schools and you got to walk around Cheltenham Elementary, and during our spontaneous visits to classrooms, the way that you were engaged in the conversation and asking questions and how inquisitive and how complimentary and how much you understood about what's happening in the schools and what you would like to see was just really illuminating to the way that you approach this work. And we know that so much of what we do would not be possible without you. And this is a thankless job because you are certainly not paid for it, and you do it out of the kindness of your heart and your love for our children and education. So thank you for everything that you do, not just this month, but all year round.
Thank you, School Board!
School board governance is such an important job, and I just want to say right now on behalf of the Glenside Elementary community, thank you, school board, for the many, many hours that I know that you put in, that you are volunteering to put in to govern our district and to create policies that support scholars and their achievement. We are so thankful. I can't say enough about how grateful we are for the work that you do. Thank you for the way in which you support our community, the residents of our community, and our administration. We hope that this continues for years to come. Thank you so much.
On behalf of the Glenside Welcome Ambassadors, we would like to say,
Thank you, Lord!
thank you for your service and to our schools and community.
On behalf of Glenside Elementary School, thank you, School Board, for all that you do for our students and for our community.
And thank you also for all that you do for the Special Education Department at Glenside and throughout the district.
Greetings from Myers Elementary School. On behalf of myself as principal here and the amazing staff and students, we would like to wish all of the members of our awesome school board of directors a happy Board of Directors Recognition Month. We are really appreciative of the hard work and the dedication that you show to our students, our schools, and our communities. It does not go unnoticed, and we are very appreciative of you. We know that it requires a lot. We know it requires you to lead with your head, your hearts, to be strategic as well as caring, and you do a wonderful job at that. I thank you for your partnership, your support, and making Cheltenham School District the best place for our students and our families. Thank you again.
Great. Thank you, School Board! Thank you, School Board!
Hello, School Board. I know we're just back from the most wonderful time of the year, but actually this month is the most wonderful month of the year because it gives us the opportunity to recognize and thank you for your leadership. Every day at Wyncote Elementary, I end my announcements by saying, in a world where you can choose to be anything, at Wyncote, we always choose to be kind. So I want to thank you for the kindness you share with our district, the kindness in your leadership, the kindness in the decisions you make related to the budget, related to staffing issues, related to strategic planning and visioning. I can't thank you enough for all that you do for me and for all of us in the Wyncote community and the Cheltenham community at large. As the poet Mary Oliver says, what can I say that I haven't said before? And so I say it again. Thank you. Thank you for all that you do, and thank you for your kindness.
Thank you for all you do. Thank you for being you. Thank you, Cheltenham School Board.
As an employee and a neighbor, it is so great to have the support of our wonderful school board. I know the work is hard and the hours can be long, but it is so appreciated, and we here at EP appreciate you. Thanks for all you do.
Thanks for all you do.
Good day, school board members. My name is Craig Metcalf. As you know, I'm the principal at Cedarbrook, and I just want to send a huge shout out and thank you for all the hard work that you do. You all spend time away from your families. You do not get paid, and this is not an easy job being a school board member where you make decisions that help support and run our schools. So thank you for all of your time, your energy, your patience. We could not do our job without you.
Thank you, School Board.
Hi, I'm Amy Thomas, and this is my pre-algebra class. And on behalf of all of us here at Cedarbrook, we just want to say thank you.
It is School Board Recognition Month. I just wanted to take this time, and I've been in this district for quite a while, to thank you from the bottom of my heart for all of the work that you guys do. You know, I always say to my teachers, our job is thankless. And when I think of everything that you guys do, I realize that we wouldn't be able to do any of our work without your hard work and the time that you're putting in and the meetings that you're going to and the big decisions that you guys are constantly making. None of that would happen for us. None of our work would be able to be successful without you. And to know that you are volunteering your time to do this, it just means the world to me. And I know it means the world to our students who benefit from your decisions each and every day. So again, thank you from the bottom of my heart. I truly appreciate all that you guys do for us. Thank you.
Thank you, board, for everything that you've done for our school. We appreciate you.
Appreciate you.
Thank you, School Board, for all that you do from PBL 12.
I'm Dr. Young at Epic. Thank you so much for your support.
I'm Mr. Jordan at Epic. Thank you so much for your hard work and dedication to making Epic happen.
Thank you, School Board.
So I know that was long, and no apologies. You you guys you guys get to be here a little later today, but it's so worth it. We don't take enough opportunity to really give you your due. So now we're going to pivot. Go ahead.
Before you pivot, Dr. Scriven, I would just like to say, first of all, thank you and the district for that acknowledgement, and that makes it not a thankless job. All the thank yous and just seeing the kids thrive, I'm sure my fellow board members would agree, is worth it, you know, all the work. And there'll be many days when I'll be pulling this out. Not just about school, but just in general, just, you know, having something nice to smile about.
No, thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. So the pivot is one where we truly try to ground ourselves in transparency. And we know that there has been some issues facility related to Elkins Park. I want to preface by saying that this should not be new. Part of my onboarding as a superintendent was around a lot of the issues that we were having related to facilities. My past role as Chief Operating Officer in Baltimore County was on the support side, which was part of the duality that I brought to the table of knowing both the ed side and also what it requires to support schools from an operational side as well. We started a feasibility study in March of 2023. And the reason for us moving that direction was because we wanted to bring experts in to do a comprehensive assessment of our facilities holistically. Resoundingly, what really came to the surface was the significant facility issues and challenges at Elkins Park, our 5-6 school. The road to where we landed started with three options or three pathways, which hopefully you can see reflected in the presentation. Pathway 1, Pathway 2, Pathway 3. I'm not going to revisit. We sent out a full survey to the community. Resoundingly, approximately 82 to 85% came to consensus that we should move forward with Pathway 2, which meant closing EP, keeping our 5th graders in a new configuration, which would be K through 5 rather than K through 4, and transitioning our 6th graders to the middle school, where we would reconfigure and have a 6 through 8 model at Cedarbrook Middle. The study, and you can go to the next slide, this is, in a nutshell, shows you the findings around EP and just basically how it has outlived its useful life. There is nothing at EP that would not need to be touched. If we looked at renovating EP, it would be over $44 million. If we looked at building a new EP, it would be over $80 million. Part of the feasibility study included us doing a comprehensive enrollment projection 10 years out. And the findings from that enrollment study really warranted that we can make it without building a new EP. And in terms of being fiscally responsible, when you look at option 2, I think it was a price tag of right around $71 million. That is for retrofitting Glenside and also Cedarbrook to accommodate. But that also includes looking at the HVAC system at the high school as well. And I just said a brand new EP, you're looking at 80 million, and we're able to touch multiple facets of our district at once. Just recently, last week, and if you want to move to the slide which really gives the update on the recent closure, we had a situation coming off of the snow day where there was a report of some condensation, some leaking at the EP facility. That carried into Wednesday. It really ballooned into a situation where the leak was significant. Steam, the leak was in the crawl space downstairs, and the steam was making its way up through the main lobby area, through the first floor to the second floor, hitting the roof of the building, causing condensation, causing water to drip into ceiling tiles, light fixtures, in the teachers' classrooms. It was not a pleasant situation. The full team went to visit Elkins Park on Wednesday, and that's when we had to make a decision to, one, mitigate the situation by fixing the leak, and that would necessitate having to close the school for last Thursday and Friday, to also replace all of those ceiling tiles. I do want to give a acknowledgement to Mr. Holman, his facilities crew, his maintenance crew, as a full staff, and I thank those board members that showed up just yesterday on Monday morning as well to address the faculty and staff. There would have been no indication that that incident that we experienced had ever occurred. So kudos to your team. But that does not negate the fact that our students lost 2 days of school. That does not negate the fact that we have a building which is no longer reliable from my perspective. I do want to go to the slide to show the video because we as an administration are not hiding anything. That's, why don't you go back since you, okay. So go back to the picture. So you can see in this picture here, there's a hole in one of those bottom pipes. The video itself, which I wish we had queued up ahead of time, I own that, shows steam coming out of that hole. We have one boiler which is off commission. We have one boiler that we went back to retrofit. But the larger issue as you look at these pipes, these are the original pipes to the building, to those boilers. Mr. Swiger did his due diligence, and to change out all of these pipes at EP alone, just changing out the pipes, would be $1.5 million. Which, looking at where we're going as a result of the feasibility study, it just doesn't make good sense. On the 29th of this month, next Wednesday, we will be having a special legislative meeting, which we will announce, which will be open to the public, where as an administrative team, we will be bringing forth recommendations for consideration of the board. I was at peace with us waiting, not counting this year, the 2 years that it would have taken to do a natural rollout of both, keeping 5th in the K through 4 model and moving 6 to the middle school. But I think this past situation warrants us having a deeper conversation. And that's why we want to open it to the public. We believe in collaboration. We believe that everyone should have a voice, and that will be an opportunity to hear testimonies from those who do show up. And it's an opportunity for us as administration to present recommendations to the board. During our February 4th Finance and Facilities meeting, we will have another special legislative meeting, which will start at 6 o'clock to officially make a recommendation in terms of what pathway or what direction we feel we should move as a district. So I just wanted to present this publicly. Normally I try to seize the superintendent reports as time to talk about continuous improvement, but this scenario has warranted us kind of giving our attention in another area until we know what our marching orders are. So, Madam Chair, that brings closure with that portion, but we're not done. No, because I never want to miss the opportunity. As you guys are aware, we honor Martin Luther King on Monday, January 20th, and there's no way I'm going to lose sight of that in the midst of what we're dealing with facilities. And we've highlighted the different activities which are going to be happening at every school. Our principals, their faculty and staff, their students have come up with just a day of service, either meeting the needs of those community members who are less fortunate, or taking time just to celebrate a life that presented opportunities that we could not have, even to Principal Teller's analogy earlier, dreamed of. And if you go to the next slide, it shows what the last three schools will be doing on those days. So I did not want to miss that opportunity to capture what we are doing as a district to celebrate Martin Luther King's birthday on Monday. And with that does bring closure with my superintendent report for this evening.
Thank you, Dr. Scriven. We will move on to our committee report, starting with the financial affairs report. On Tuesday, January 7th, Mr. Swiger provided a reporting of the district's financial statements, changes in net assets, and the balance statement. He also discussed the township tax collector position. And so to give a bit more information about that, the township commissioners are considering bringing the tax collection in-house and not having a separate tax collection office. While that is a consideration, Mr. Swiger presented 3 options for tax collection for the district and the impact to the district should that change occur. Tonight we will be voting on several items. One is the Cheltenham High School Stretton Hall roof repairs to the lowest bidder. There is a budget item for the MCIU and the CHS, the Cheltenham High School Stadium turf. We also discussed budget considerations for the 25-26 and beyond school budgets, district budget. Our next meeting will be held on February 4th. It will be hybrid. That concludes my report. Our next committee report will be Educational Affairs. Ms. Mulhern.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The Educational Affairs Committee met in person and via Zoom on Tuesday, December 17th, 2024. The agenda had 5 items, which was ambitious, but we got through it all and with the diligence that it needed. We began with an overview of secondary course enrollment from the Cheltenham High School interim principal, Dr. Ben Hammond. We will receive an update on course enrollment for 2025-26 in April. Next, we heard from CHS Vice Principal Mark Huff. He presented new course proposals for the high school, including a social justice and protest movements course, Algebra 1 honors, and ninth grade choir. A financial literacy course that is required by the Pennsylvania Department of Education, beginning with the class of 2027, was also presented. The Assistant Superintendent, Siobhan Savage, gave an update on the empowerment program in Cheltenham, known as EPIC. The program includes currently roughly 47 students, with several going back to the high school for the second semester, which is, I believe, in 10 days. 12 or 13 students we anticipate graduating this spring. Next, Ms. Savage gave an update on the academic calendar process. Surveys have been given to families as well as staff, and there have been multiple meetings and discussions with different stakeholder groups about the calendar. The final draft of the proposed 2025-26 calendar is part of tonight's consent agenda. Finally, we received an update on the strategic planning process from the pillars that are focused in the Office of Education. The full recording of this meeting, as well as the presentation of all of the slide decks with all kinds of great information, can all be found on the school district's website under the Office of Education. And the next Educational Affairs Committee meeting is Tuesday, January 21st, 2025 at 7 p.m. in person at the Administration Building and via Zoom. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Ms. Mulhern. Mr. Burdell Williams will provide the Eastern Center for Arts and Technology Committee report.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The Eastern Center for Arts and Technology met on December 11th, and as customary for Eastern Joint Operating Committee meetings, the first order of business was to acknowledge the December Student of the Month, who was Miss Angelina Tang, an Upper Dublin High School senior, who is recognized for her work in Eastern's Culinary Arts program. Just a little bit about Angelina. She believes that the culinary field is her true calling. During 10th grade, she attended the Career Expo at Eastern, which happens every year and is an opportunity for students to explore Eastern and what they have to offer. And at that time, Angelina discovered that the Culinary Arts program was the perfect fit for her. At Eastern, she is extremely involved in Skills USA, where she is elected the school-wide secretary. She was also voted to represent the student voice on Eastern's Executive Advisory Committee, as well as on the Partnership and Perception Committee. Through her Culinary Arts program, she received her Serve Safe Food Handler certification, as well as, her previous year as a junior in the Culinary Arts program, she received the Culinary Arts Alumni Tool of the Trade, Directors Awards, and Straight A Awards at Eastern's Award Night. Angelina is setting her sights on Johnson & Wales University, where she plans to specialize in baking and pastry arts. With her passion for culinary, she aims to gain some hands-on experience and master her craft. In the long term, she hopes to share her knowledge and inspire future chefs by herself becoming a culinary arts instructor, blending her love for food with a commitment to shaping the next generation of culinary professionals. Speaking of the Career Expo, but reflecting on the upcoming Eastern Open House, the Open House at the Eastern Center for Arts and Technology is on Sunday, March 2nd, 2025, from 1 to 3 p.m. It's a wonderful opportunity for folks to be able to explore Eastern and have an opportunity of what their programs may be able to provide, whether it's a competitive edge in a post-secondary education or a specialized career program. The Joint Operating Committee also received an annual report on key indicators and placement reports. That information is provided as a data share to provide a reflection on what Eastern's graduates are doing after they've completed their time at the Eastern Center for Arts and Technology. A number of items are examined in terms of whether or not a student is entered, post-secondary, whether or not they have work, or whether or not, which has been the most critical or most challenging to do, not being able to reach someone to confirm what it is they're actually doing, right? Inside of those key indicators, as a part of Eastern's vision to be in a more equitable school environment, they examine proportionality and really dig deep into the finite details of how these key indicators are aggregated across different groups, subgroups, whether it's race or any a number of socioeconomic factors. Additional item that was shared just under the President's report was that Eastern entered into an articulation agreement with the Montgomery County Community College, which we have for a number of programs. This one was specific to the Protective Services Program, which would provide individuals in that program up to the opportunity to earn up to 6 credits as a part of Montco's Criminal Justice Associates Program. There were a few other items that were shared under personal affairs, as well as additional approvals under academic affairs. The last order of business was to acknowledge existing terms, expiring terms and membership for each of the 9 members from their sending districts, as well as the treasurer and secretary for their terms, whether 1 year for treasurer, 4 year for secretary, or for Dr. Jeffrey Fletcher, who is going to be our new superintendent of record for the next 2 years. The final, but actually first order of business, it just happened to be the last one that I'm reporting on today, was that the Joint Operating Committee elected their officers as well for the upcoming year. And for a second continuous year in a row, Ms. Carolyn Riley will from Jenkintown will be the president of the Joint Operating Committee, and I will be vice president for the next year as well. Proud moment for me, excited to serve Eastern, very passionate about all the work they do there. My daughter is thriving in college, and I believe her experience from Eastern helped her get there. The next meeting for the Eastern Center for Arts and Technology Joint Operating Committee is on February 12th, and that meeting will be via Zoom, and that concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Burdell Williams. Ms. Lohman will provide the Montgomery County Intermediate Unit report.
Thank you, Ms. Henry. The Montgomery County Intermediate Unit did not meet in December. The next MCIU board meeting will be next Wednesday, January 22nd at 6:45 p.m. in person at the MCIU's main offices in Northtown and over Zoom. So that's my report.
Thank you, Ms. Lohman. Mr. Burdell Williams, you will do the facilities report.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The January Facilities Committee was held on Tuesday, January 7th, and at that meeting we received a presentation from KCBA outlining details of the upcoming projects, namely those construction projects happening at both Cedarbrook Middle School as well as at Glenside Elementary School, providing the board and for the community's knowledge, if they spend time accessing the presentation, with some visual representation of what those building additions would be, as well as some additional commentary regarding the accommodations that those buildings make, not just for housing the students, but also providing potentially an expanded experience for them. Thinking about the Cedarbrook project and the fact that there'll be STEAM or STEM lab being added, as well as some additional spaces for students to be able to enjoy not just what happens in a traditional classroom setting, but those that support that experience. We did also hear a short update about the stadium project that included a brief timeline, and for the awareness of the community inside of that timeline is strong awareness of the fact that our first football home game in 2025 is on August 29th, and that the administration as well as the construction company is well aware of that date and planning to be ready for that when the time comes so that we can host that first home game. The full presentation is available on Cheltenham's website, both the PDF as well as the video recording. The next meeting of the Facilities Committee is on February 4th at 7 p.m. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Mr. Burdell Williams. Ms. Mulhern will provide the liaison group update.
Yes, thank you. The liaison group did not meet in December. Our next meeting will be Monday, January 27th at 8 a.m.
Thank you, Ms. Mulhern. Ms. Lohman will provide the policy committee update.
Thank you, Ms. Henry. The policy committee did not meet in December. The next policy committee meeting will be in 2 weeks on Tuesday, January 28th at 7 p.m. here at the administration building. This ends on my report.
Thank you, Ms. Loman. Mr. Epps will provide the legislative update.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Madam Chair. Good evening, everyone. As a member of the Montgomery County Legislative Committee, we meet periodically to discuss both past and proposed legislation, particularly towards education that affects Cheltenham and the Commonwealth at large. And so some important updates that really just happened over the last week. Our legislator has returned to Harrisburg after the elections. If folks are following, the PA House is still pretty much a tie. There's a one seat, but depending on the day, depending who comes to work, really who has control of the legislator. But right now, the Democratic Party does have a one seat majority. And so a lot of the issues that are on the docket for this upcoming session are, again, educational funding, building on the formula that was produced last year, transportation cost, but really public transportation, so beyond education, things like SEPTA, the SEPTA system is underfunded at the moment, and that's a big topic of conversation, as well as regulations of different types, energy, business, and of the sorts. And so there's going to be a lot of conversations about what to do along those topics. There is some conversations that vouchers may come back for the third year in a row, and certainly we know as we've been talking about with the superintendent, the Project 2025 movement, and it certainly has some implications at the state level. So certainly there'll be plenty of opportunities to let our voices heard so that the community knows. Our own board, we will be deciding on what our priorities are, what we want to advocate our legislators for, and members of the public can do the very same thing. And so there are opportunities to do that. Our very own state representative, Napoleon Nelson, continues to serve on the Education Committee, and our state senator, Art Haywood, continues to be on the Appropriations Committee. And so their contact information is easily accessible online. Please do not hesitate to reach out, as well as our federal congressional members, thinking of Congressional Member Madeline Dean and our PA senators as well. And so please do let your voice be heard. Now is the time. The budget season will be right around the corner. And so when the legislator is making decisions about what to fund, what priorities are necessary, we want to make sure that our voice is there before some of those decisions are made. So that brings my report to a close, and members of the community, please do look forward for more updates from us. And members, look out for invitations for the legislative breakfast coming up in April.
Thank you, Mr. Epps. And that concludes our committee and group report updates. I'm asking for a motion to approve the December 10th, 2024 minutes.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed say nay. The minutes are approved. And next we will move to the approval of the consent agenda. Have a motion to approve?
So moved. Zachary Epps.
Second.
Before we move to a vote, I'd open it up to the board for comments. Dr. Whiting?
Thank you, Madam President. I just want to point out there is, with 2025, a new year, also new changes on the consent agenda. We have now the administration listing strategic plan pillars with the approval of conferences, the agreements approvals, and the contract approvals. And I just want to highlight how important this is, both to identify the ways in which our staff and teachers are dedicating themselves to the pursuit of things that advance our strategic pillars, and also the administration's dedication to aligning ourselves to those things. And so I want to just highlight that and also highlight all of the educators who are going to conferences and enriching their own professional practice. So thank you to those educators for taking that time to do that. And thank you to the district for taking the money and effort to highlight that. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Whiting. I also noticed that the pillars were listed. Did I see Mr. Epps, your hand go up?
Thank you. I just wanted to comment around the academic calendar, which is for vote is part of this consent agenda, and thank administration and the calendar committee for the amount of excellent dedication, stakeholder analysis, and data-driven analysis that led to this final recommendation. As a member of the board, I rely on you all to put in systems to ensure that the recommendations are thoughtful, and I have so much confidence in the system that you use to develop this calendar, so thank you very much.
Ms. Savage, I think you were going to provide some context to the selection for the calendar.
Absolutely. The Academic Calendar Committee actually came together a number of times over the course of this school year to meet and go through a process where we reviewed the legal requirements around the plotting of the academic calendar. We came up with some drafts, and we initially came up with multiple drafts where we considered all of the different possibilities around a calendar. We whittled those drafts down to 2 drafts, which we then shared in a survey for our families, and then a survey for our Cheltenham Education Association membership as well. We had 640 family households represented in survey responses for the family survey. And I say households because we had families actually complete just one survey. Even if they have multiple children in the house, they had the opportunity to indicate, which schools their children went to and what grade levels. And we also had 147 individual CEA responses. One of the questions on both surveys had to do with the calendars, the 2 draft calendars that we presented, and which ones families and CEA membership would prefer. For families in particular, we saw that 49.7% versus 50.3% would choose one calendar over the other. So that's obviously very, very tight in terms of a split in having a preference of draft 1 over draft 2. For the CEA membership in particular, 77.6% reported that they were in favor of draft 2 in particular. The Academic Calendar Committee came back together and reviewed these survey results with some additional comments and details. And on the academic calendar that is before you this evening, you will see that there is one slight adjustment from the calendars that were in both of these surveys, and that slight adjustment is a new color. That color is now purple. On November 24th and 25th of 2025, we are moving to half-day report card conferences, and the other half of the day will be professional development time for our staff. The reasoning for that from the Academic Calendar Committee and thinking through that is making sure that families can schedule conferences for Monday the 24th and not have to wait until the 26th. So just making sure that that was something feasible and that we were all in agreement with. That is the one change that you see, but the calendar before you tonight is draft 2 with that slight change.
Thank you, Ms. Savage. I'd like to make a note of appreciation for a donation from Aileen and James McNally. That donation was for the Cheltenham Elementary Library for the Shauna McNally Peace Shelf. We are always grateful for community members' donations for the benefit of our children and our staff. Mr. Epps?
Thanks. I've got to give a hearty shout out to Mrs. Barbara Gatson, who's retiring. Yeah, as a former Myers family, every time we walk through the door, we were greeted by a pleasant smile. There are hundreds of students in that building, but she learns the names of the students, which gets to our belonging, right, to becoming engaged. So definitely want to recognize her years of service and appreciate the contribution she's made to the community. And if If you don't know, she's also a baker. And so it reminds me I've got to get her number because every Thanksgiving she's making a pie, she's making the cakes. And so definitely, Ms. Gatson, thank you.
Make it over there.
Your presence will be felt.
Thank you, Mr. Epps. Mr. Burdell Williams?
Yeah, not to belabor the point about the calendar, recognizing that the calendar from one board member's perspective is one of the things that we spend, I think, a lot of time discussing. We get a lot of community feedback on it when we made the change last year to try to add additional professional development days by having the 2 early dismissal days. We heard from the community. Thank you for that feedback, but also thank you to administration for listening to those the voice and the tenor of the community to find ourselves in an environment where we're creating what we believe is or what's being presented to us tonight to vote on is a calendar that reflects all of that collective energy. So, and lastly, as always, I do want to give appreciation for the volunteers who are being approved or who are up for approval. Looking forward to supporting them with a yes vote here. Thank you for all of the things you did to get your paperwork in. Having done this before and being a not PA born person, I recognize that it takes a lot to get there, and fingerprinting can be weird. So thank you everybody for the volunteers who actually went through that as well.
All right, if there are no other comments, we will move to a voice vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed say nay. The agenda is approved. And so we will move to procedures for public comments. If you're in the audience and you have a comment, you can approach the podium, state your name and where you reside in the district. If you are watching online, you can either email CSD board meeting comments@sheltonham.org, or if you're on Zoom, you can raise your hand and you will be unmuted.
Is Kai on?
Sounds like.
Can you all hear me?
Yes.
Thanks. Hi. Good evening. My name is Rick Topper. My wife Rose and I have lived in Glenside since 1983, where we raised our 4 children, all of whom were CHS graduates. I taught high school for 30 years, 22 of them in Cheltenham's English department, and 15 of them as department chair. I also served as VP of Operations and Development for a software startup back in the Neolithic era of interactive CD-ROMs. A decade ago, I drew on both careers to create and teach a course at CHS called Digital Culture. I pitched the course to district admin and the school board by noting that everyone was riding this swelling digital wave, gaming, shopping, selfies, social media, but no one was actually looking at the wave, much less its effect on our families, our schools, and our culture. That was then. It's not a wave anymore, it's a tsunami. The New York Times columnist Thomas Friedman notes that we're at the start of the biggest technological disruption and the biggest climate disruption in human history, the dawn of an artificial intelligence revolution that is going to change everything for everyone: how we work, how we learn, how we teach, how we trade, how we invent, how we collaborate, how we fight wars, how we commit crimes, and how we fight crimes. Responding to this challenge is critical, but to date, school districts, including Cheltenham, have yet to answer the call. Our educational system, I believe, amounts to a very expensive Maginot Line, heavily invested in training our students for yesterday's world, where their roles and their value were taken for granted. As long as their training was aligned with the demands of the economy they'd be joining, the system kind of worked. But what happens when the interests of the economy and those of humanity diverge? As Joshua Rothman writes in the August 6th issue of The New Yorker, we seem to be on the cusp of a world in which workers of all kinds, teachers, doctors, writers, photographers, lawyers, coders, clerks, and more, will be replaced with, or to some degree sidelined by, their AI equivalents. In other words, we're fast approaching the point where our economy may no longer need our labor as one of its inputs. So now what? What happens when the demands of the economy run counter to the welfare of our citizens, that is, our children? And if our educational model is no longer effective, then what might we teach in its place? In the same New Yorker article, Rothman quotes Shannon Valor, an AI ethicist, whose concern isn't that artificially intelligent computers will rise up and dominate humanity, but that faced with computers that can pretend to have human virtues, we'll lose track of what those virtues really are. Comforted by computers that tell us that they love us, we'll forget what love is. Wowed by systems that seem to be creative, we'll lose respect for actual human creativity. This forgetting process, she warns, has already begun. Besotted with our technology, we seem almost eager to narrow our conception of what it means to be human. AI can devalue our humanity only because we've already devalued it ourselves. And if we doubt this is happening at CHS, just check in with any teacher trying to figure out if the essay in front of them was written by a student or by ChatGPT. Let me be clear, this is not a STEM assignment. This is the job for the humanities and the social sciences because it's humanity and society that's at stake. And let me repeat, our job is to look at the wave, to help our students regain control of their own narrative, learn what AI is trying to do and why, and who benefits should it succeed. To teach Cheltenham's children how to articulate their worth, to affirm their value as human beings, not in some toothless feel-good way, but assertively and with full awareness of a digital pseudo-culture, ready at every turn to strip it away. Step one in this effort is self-evident. Embargo cell phones and return control of the classroom where it belongs, to students and their teachers, that is, the flesh and blood human beings. But that's the low-hanging fruit. Harder jobs await. We have a choice. We can conduct business as usual, and no one will complain or probably even notice. Or we can do right by the young and the very young women and men who come into our hallways each September looking for their future. This will require hard decisions based on hard conversations and hard thinking. I would say out of the box thinking, but we're already out of the box. We just don't know it yet. Thank you very much. Good day.
Thank you very much. All right, we will move on to our future meetings are as listed on the agenda. And I have a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Point of order before we adjourn. I'm glad Principal Taylor, you're still here. Because last month we heard about how data is being used in schools. And this month I wanted to highlight that we are hearing a bit about this portrait of a graduate. I know that work is underway, and we're going to be hearing more, but I wanted to say before we even have the results of the committee, we can see that presentation, right? When we see students mentoring each other, we see collaboration happening, something else I wrote down, taking ownership and responsibility of themselves. All of those things are things that we want to see in our students when they are moving on. And so I appreciate that we can see that already. And as we crystallize and create this portrait of a graduate, we can look inwards. We actually don't have to look far. We can actually look inwards and see what we already have and what we want to crystallize for that. So I appreciate being able to see the mixture, the academic, the social emotional, all of the, and the data, all of that within your presentation tonight. So I appreciate that. But that's not a motion to adjourn, so I'll pause there.
That's fine. No, thank you for that. Thank you for that comment. And before you leave, we'd like to get your contact information and information that you shared. Thank you. All right, can I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
All in favor say aye. Oh, I need a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? The meeting is adjourned.